So this is a recurring topic on this channel. I am a meditation teacher with ADHD. I'm also a therapist, and I spent a long time researching, exploring, learning around how to manage ADHD symptoms, but also really overcome them to fundamentally change our inner workings. So I made a whole course, Meditation for ADHD, that is really going to have all the things in this video. You don't need to buy the course. It's kind of a nice package if you want to buy it. But I'm going to give you kind of the core ideas here. And if you follow this channel, you'll see over the coming weeks all of these types of practices coming out anyways. So the main thing to understand is that stress makes our ADHD symptoms worse. So if we want to learn how to get better, we have to learn how to manage and reduce our stress. Easier said than done, I know, but it's really doable, and I'm going to give you the practices to do it. But the big thing I've learned from working with many clients is that stress is unique to each of us. There are different things that are stressing us. Yes, there are universal practices we can do to lower our stress, but we really want to get to the root of what is stressing us out and address it directly. And because that's unique to each person, we're going to require different types of work or practices or reflection or change in our lives. This is why I'm making this big, massive resource on my channel, and it's all completely free. The resource has many different modules, many different dimensions, so you can find what you need, what practices are going to be most effective for you. So I'm slowly rolling that out right now. Make sure you're subscribed if that interests you. But I've worked with a lot of people with ADHD, and I've had a lot of feedback on my course, and they've all said that these particular practices I'm about to show you are very helpful. It's really the last one that is the one that I use most. It's really kind of putting them all together into a short refocusing practice that is super effective. If you practice it, if you get into depth with it, it can help you get back onto track when you're trying to work, or just back onto track when you're trying to focus on anything. The first skill or practice is befriending your nervous system or befriending your body. So like I said, ADHD symptoms are made so much worse by stress. When you're stressed, it makes everything worse, no matter what you have. So the first thing is to connect with your body, and you can try this right now, putting a hand here, and breathe and just feel into the sensations that are happening in your body right now. Notice what they are, and just send this message that it's okay to be feeling this. And just by connecting with what we're feeling and accepting it, being okay with it, validating our experience, that starts to self-soothe and helps to de-stress. Yes, it might not get rid of the stress entirely, but even just bringing it down a few notches is really empowering. It really changes our mindset. It shows us that we have some degree of control over our experience, and that can be very reassuring. It can make us feel less overwhelmed when we're feeling stressed because we know we can at least do something about it. The second practice is self-compassion. This is, again, easier said than done. I have a lot on my channel about this. You can check out my self-compassion practice. It's really just taking on a perspective where we can care for ourselves and care about ourselves and not be so hard on ourselves. And I know there are lots of challenges when it comes to this. There's lots of inner critic stuff. I do have a video on the inner critic, and I'm going to be doing a massive module all about generating self-compassion and getting over to the barriers of self-compassion and self-forgiveness. Because often, if we can't have compassion for ourselves, we need to forgive ourselves in some way. So that's another thing to look at. The next tool I'm going to give you this is like a massive game changer. It's getting a whiteboard, like a dry erase board, and putting that in your space and putting your to-do list, the things that you need to get done, onto that whiteboard. And you can organize them in the sense of this is like today's to-do list, and then this is like the larger things I want to be working on. And that helps so much because with ADHD, as you know, we come to these moments where we're not sure what we should be doing, and then we just kind of pick up our phone or go on our computer, or we do something that isn't really our intention because we just don't remember to do things. But when you have a whiteboard in the space, when it says right on it what you should be doing, it's this excellent reminder that when you have open time, open space, you see it, you get the message, and you do it. Some people make lists in books or phones, but the problem with those things is if they're not in your environment, if you can't see them, if they're not catching your eye on a moment-to-moment basis, then you're going to forget. So having a to-do list, like the things you need to get done in your space that will actually catch your eye when you're kind of lost or distracted, that is really super incredibly helpful. And if you want to do this, really go out, buy a whiteboard today. Don't just think you're going to do it someday. do it today. And then the last practice is the refocusing practice. And I'm going to explain it to you, kind of guide you through it. But if you buy my Meditation for ADHD course, there's the actual audio practice that, you follow along. But it's super simple and easy to do yourself. It just takes like 2 or 3 minutes. And as you get the hang of it, you can do it faster and faster until you can do it within just a few moments when you need to refocus. So when you catch yourself distracted and you want to refocus, but you're having trouble, the first step is to connect with your body. So close your eyes, feel into the sensations, and really just validate what you're feeling. It can really help if you're, not in public, or if you don't feel weird about it, to put your hand on your chest or abdomen, or wherever feels soothing. And just validate whatever feelings are there. So we're just telling ourselves it's okay to feel what we're feeling. And then the next step is to imagine what it would feel like to accomplish the task you're doing. So you imagine the feeling of accomplishment. It helps set your focus and your intention in the right direction. And so you really feel that feeling of what would it feel like to accomplish the task that you want to accomplish. And let that pull you in that direction. And then the final step is to think about just the next smallest step. So don't think about the big task ahead that's overwhelming. Instead, break it down to the smallest pieces possible and only focus on that one next step. So for me, I was writing a long time for meditation apps, and the next step for me would be write one more sentence. Sometimes the next step is just open up a Word doc or something like that. But you really just want to do, what is the next step? If you're avoiding something, like let's say doing your taxes, the first step is to just, open up your documents. So don't think about how big and complicated the whole task is going to be. That's just going to be overwhelming. It's going to make you freeze up, or it can make you freeze up. Instead, think about just the one next smallest task that's very accomplishable, and just do that. And that starts to build the momentum in the right direction. So it's checking in with your body, validating your feelings, basically self-soothing, and then thinking of the feeling of accomplishment and really imagining yourself feeling the feeling of accomplishment, and that sets the direction. And then focusing only on the next step. And then, when you open your eyes and get back to your work, you are kind of laser focused. I'm just going to do this next step. And once I do the next step, who knows? You're not thinking past that. And then, of course, if you get distracted again, you just do this again. And the whole thing about focus and attention is you get better at it the more you bring your mind back. It's bringing your mind back and refocusing that is the practice. It's not staying focused, it's refocusing. So that's the refocusing practice. I hope you find these things helpful. If you like this, please subscribe, comment, like, all those things. Thank you very much for tuning in.